This is a Tape Deck podcast.
Oh, God, no.
Oh, God. All right. Hello and welcome to We'll Run For. This is your host, Tom. And with me, as always, are Erin.
Hello.
Michael.
Hello.
And Diana.
Hi. I loved how we just started off with, oh, God, no.
Well, that's because cicadas.
Oh, my God. I put it in literally into our show notes of things that are currently ruining my life.
I love how this started out as a Erin hates cicadas. Erin is very concerned about the cicada invasion because of her race. Erin had no cicadas during her race, and now the cicadas are ruining Diana's life.
Well, I think the thing was, like, when they first started coming out, there weren't as many. And I was like, well, this isn't bad. This is going to be manageable. Now they're everywhere. We should put in the show, like, on the
You'll have to put a video.
Yeah, that video that Tom took.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I vomited.
It's so bad. I'm nauseous every time I look at it. They're all over the sidewalk. They're dead all over the sidewalk. They're so dumb. Like, what kind of evolutionary thing is they flip over on their back and then they can't flip back over, so then they just die? Like, what is that?
I don't know. Snow shovel level? Remember when I said my brother was shoveling them with snow shovels?
And
Are
guess
we
that
there?
happened last time, but like we're almost there in Columbia, and it's so weird because they're so bad here. They're everywhere. They're so loud. And I was at my mom's on Sunday, and she has like a couple of them every now and then. You can't really hear them at all. Like, and we have dozens. Like when we walk the dog, they fly. They hit you in the face. They get stuck in my ponytail. All of a sudden, you'll look down, and one will be like on your arm. I was driving down a highway today and kind of stuck in a little bit of traffic, and you could just see them like zooming around all of the cars.
I was on a work call today, and I heard a leaf blower. And
my God.
There's no leaves outside right now.
No.
Yeah.
Somebody's walking around with a leaf blower blowing the dead carcasses of cicadas off the sidewalk. Also, when it's kind of hot out and when it's dry, they're trying to attract each other.
Horny death screaming.
There's this horny death scream that's between like 85 and 94 decibels.
Oh my God.
All the time.
Oh my God.
I can hear them through the window. So I was working kind of at a chair by the window, and I was like, God, what the hell is that? And it was the cicadas.
Oh, man.
I'm almost glad this conversation's happening because I feel like now I'm going to have a bunch of people listen to this, because when I talked about them and how like my brother had them to the point where like they were like shoveling dead carcasses and had the windshield wipers on because of like them hitting the windshields and everything, people think I'm exaggerating.
No, it's so bad. One followed Tom into the house today.
That's what I said, oh no, about at the top of this. What did you do?
I mean, I'll pick them up. Like they're not. They don't bite. They're not like if it was a spider, I'd have jumped out the window. Like,
they're so
I just
gross looking.
feel them crawling up my back,
eyes.
and then I slowly pick it up and walk it outside. Like they're relatively
you feel
harmless.
it crawling on you?
No, you can feel them crawling
Oh,
on you
God.
as it happens. Like all of a sudden, I'll be like, "What is that?" And I'll look down, and there'll just be a cicada on me. It's the worst thing in my life right now.
I want to die just listening to it.
I want to die. It's
they're
awful.
They are harmless. There's just a lot of them. They're very horny, and they're all dying.
And I just, for some reason, in my head, I don't know where I got this idea that they were here for 2 weeks in my head.
Is it like 6 weeks?
Yeah,
I don't
it's a
know.
long time.
But in my head, I thought it was 2 weeks. And then I looked it up last night, and they're here until at least July 4th. And I was like, I'm going to die.
Oh
I'm
my
gonna
God.
die.
I think
They're
it's
like
like 5 to 8 weeks, depending on the brood, whatever.
Rude.
The brood.
Yeah, they're like Brood X, I think is what they're
Yeah.
calling.
Yeah, they're edgy.
So, yeah.
Oh my God. They're so bad. They're everywhere.
I'm sorry to hear that. And thank God they were not at our race, which you'll hear about in a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh
no.
my God. Well, they were at our race, but not so bad. Like you saw like the odd one, but
Yeah, I think that's a little further west than you guys. I think out that way it's not as bad.
No, when we got to the race, they were kind of loud, but it rained, which they say kept them away.
I thought the rain killed them all last weekend because we didn't hear them. And I was like, thank God the rain has killed them. And then they came back as soon as it was like sunny again.
Yeah, when we picked up our bib, there was you could hear them in the trees, and the guy was saying how they hadn't been there on he had walked the course on Wednesday or something like that, and this was Friday, and he was like, I couldn't hear them on Wednesday, but today they're loud, and we were like, oh, great. But then it rained, so we got lucky.
Yeah, they've gotten so much worse. Like when they first started coming out, I was like, oh, this isn't too bad. Like this is kind of fun. They're out here. No, I want to die now.
The thrill is gone.
Oh,
my
man.
gosh. So what else is ruining your life, Diana?
Oh my God. So then the other thing that is currently ruining my life, where I'm actually experiencing trauma from, is there's an Instagram called Sibling or Dating.
What?
Oh my God.
Stop it.
And I literally I'm almost thinking I'm going to get PTSD from it because it's so horrifying.
Why do you keep looking at it?
I can't stop.
And that
then
train
they do
wreck?
polls.
Oh,
so then they'll show a photo. And of course, the object of the photo is to guess, are they siblings or are they dating?
This is kind of messed up.
Horrifying. And then you see people and you're like, they kind of look similar. They're definitely brother and sister, and they're dating. They're just that weird couple that looks like each other. Or it'll be people in bikinis holding each other, and it's dating.
Yeah.
It's the worst thing I've ever seen, and I spend a lot of time on there.
Well,
lot of
what
time.
do you think happens when you're adopted and your brother is a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white boy?
Oh, you should
who's
submit a photo.
only a couple years older than you? Because we got that all the time. Oh, what does your girlfriend think?
That's my sister.
Horrifying.
Oh my God.
So gross. It's so gross. I can't.
Oh, gosh.
So that's a new thing, and there's a poll a couple times a day with it, and it's all I think about is sibling or dating.
Let's backtrack. Michael, do we have any 5-star reviews?
Sadly, no.
What? Womp womp.
Womp womp. But, you can always leave one. That would be amazing. Also, just share the show on social media and with your friends. That's a great way to get it out there as well.
Yeah, we would really appreciate it. And the offer still stands. If you leave a 5-star review with a comment, I will run. And it's averaging 90 degrees now. So, yeah. Make me run in the heat.
Yeah. Good times.
Make
him run in the heat with cicadas hitting him in the face.
Oh,
Sometimes I walk around with my mouth open, Erin.
Oh, God.
It's only a matter of time. Speaking of running, what are we running for this week?
What am I running for? I'm running because we are on our way to Disney. Michael just got back from Disney.
I did just get back from Disney, actually.
But now he's going back with me. Going to Disney, just a quick 3-day trip, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's going to be close to 95 degrees out, and we're going to use it as our heat training. So, our plan is to rope drop and basically spend the whole day on our feet doing Disney as you do. And
just get
close
many
it down.
Many steps as
possible.
Yeah. Eat and drink.
Stand out in the heat.
Yeah, bake. Jumping off of that, I'm just running for heat. Doing all my runs in the afternoon right now.
Why?
To get ready for the canyon.
It's going to be 105 down in the canyon.
So it was 97 this afternoon. I did a nice 4-miler out in the sun, baked at 3:30 in the afternoon.
I did not. I got up and did it this morning. The problem with the morning, though, is it's soupy because the humidity hasn't burned off yet, so it was just soupy. So I guess either way, it's kind of sucky.
Oh, yeah. Miserable.
Anyway, what are you running for, Diana?
Oh, I'm running the exact opposite of what you guys are saying. So something to cool me off is it's summertime and snowballs are back in
Oh.
Maryland. So that's a delight.
Is this like the thing from Clerks? Or...
Yeah, well they're regional, right? So they have kind of like Philly has water ice, right?
It's not.
Yeah,
He got it. Never mind.
I'm like, he's talking about something.
Like
She's talking about the delicious
Yes.
treat, and you're being
He's
dirty.
being inappropriate.
Oh,
Yeah, he's
gross.
being inappropriate.
gross. But it's definitely regional.
It's a frozen thing?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's in the cone thing where it's like a ball on top of the cone.
No, the only
It's not
ones.
e- no.
The only ones I know
Oh.
are like the Hostess ones. You know.
No, so
like
these
the
are
cupcake.
ice. So
No, they're
Okay.
kind
like
of
it's
like
water ice.
it's kind of between shaved ice and water ice.
Mm.
But they serve it in like in just like a cup.
Oh, it's in a cup. Okay.
It's just in a cup, and it's just basically ice chunks with syrup on it. The big thing in Maryland is the egg custard flavor. I don't know why I don't get egg custard, but everyone gets egg custard with marshmallow on top.
Huh.
And it's a weird Baltimore thing because I grew up in a DC suburb in Maryland, and we didn't have them at all.
Oh, wow.
And Tom didn't really have them in Howard County, but like Anne Arundel County, Baltimore County, and like the city has them. And in Hawaii they have shaved ice, which is more
Yeah.
like snow.
Yeah, the
kind of texture.
snow is kind of. I think that's what I was thinking of. Like they have
Yeah.
the ones that are snow, and like when they're on the boardwalk, they're in like cone shaped looking
Yeah.
cups, and then they have a ball on top of them, and then they put the syrup on top.
Oh.
And that's what I was
Kind of
thinking
like
of.
that, but it's not. Like I got a cup today that was.
Yeah,
I got a 20-ounce cup of Snowball today.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I don't know. They're weird and regional, and I love them. So that's what I'm running for. I had one yesterday and one today.
Oh yeah, I actually see the one that has like the Maryland. It has like is it
Marshmallow.
marshmallow?
Yeah, they
it's
put marshmallow
like
on
marshmallow
top
on top. That's weird. But
That's
yeah, it's
odd.
kind of what I was picturing, just not in the little cone
of it. No,
thing.
it's not
that I
like
was,
a ball.
Yeah,
Like, it kind of
yeah.
comes to a point. kind
Yeah,
of from the
yeah,
ice
yeah,
maker.
yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking the cupcakes because that's the only
Oh,
ones
yeah.
I know.
You're
The,
thinking about the Hostess.
Yeah, the pink ones
marshmallow
or the
pink, yeah.
or the white
Yeah.
ones or
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, but these are a frozen treat.
So I'm running, and I guess when this comes out, it'll be this Saturday. I have a date with a lake.
Oh, this coming Saturday.
This coming.
So you
Saturday.
will have done it when this comes out.
No, when this drops.
Okay.
It'll be this Saturday.
next
Oh,
Saturday.
okay,
Comes
gotcha.
out,
It's
yeah.
not this. Okay.
So yeah, I'm ready. I guess
As
I'm
ready
gonna
as you'll ever be.
I'm swimming a couple times this week, just to kind of keep prepared. But yeah, I have a strategy.
Okay.
I'm gonna try not to drown.
Well, I mean, that feels like a pretty good strategy.
So yeah, we'll see how it goes. And then we're gonna hang out in Luray, Virginia, and go to the caverns.
Oh, are you? I thought that for some reason I thought you guys said that you had something that night.
We did, but COVID pushed it back. So we had one of our Hippodrome shows that night, but
Oh.
all that got moved back.
Okay,
so.
yeah, I remember you saying that you had a show or something, and then okay,
Yeah.
so that's good.
now
So
we're
you
good.
can actually go and hang out with him and cheer him on.
Yeah, so we're gonna go. I think Lisa and Chris are gonna come and cheer.
Okay,
Yep.
And then
that's out.
yeah.
Is that out by Shenandoah area?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I think I've been there before. I think I've been to the
Yeah,
caverns
I've
that
been to
you're
Luray,
actually talking
yeah.
about.
Yeah, I haven't been since I was a kid. So
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I was a kid when I went too. It's definitely warmed up since last time we talked about this.
that's true.
It's like 50 degrees warmer than the last time we discussed it.
We'll see how that water is.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure it'll still be a little cool, but I mean, you got a few more weeks of it warming up. It's probably going to be nice.
yeah, 2 more weeks, but this
Yeah.
weekend's supposed to drop down to 69 again.
Oh, I don't know. Well, yeah, I guess.
We're
I
not
don't
going to
know.
be here for it, but it's supposed to
Oh.
be 69
Oh,
yeah.
and rainy. So the
nice.
rain is actually what's going to affect the water more than anything.
Oh, yeah,
'cause
that'll
if
cool it
it'll
off.
cool
yeah.
it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might
And I
be
mean, it's up in
refreshing,
the-
though.
It's up in the mountains, so I don't. I
Be a
don't
little
even
cooler
know.
That's
also.
true.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
knows?
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, I will cross my fingers that you don't drown.
That's all you can hope
That's
for.
all that one can-
Yeah.
I mean, at
My
least
bar
you don't
is
have
real
to
low.
deal with alligators.
That's true.
Because I did read one of our goal getters was concerned about alligators.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We had good goal getters this week.
Yeah.
Take it away, Neil.
And now, it's time for our Will Run 4 Goal Getters. Congrats on making your goals, you getters. Oh, you runs the shit.
All right, our goal getters for this week. We have Greg in Orlando, who is Greg in Utah this week, and did his first 50-miler in Bryce Canyon. Finished just under 13 hours.
Wow.
Yo, let's talk about how there was like what, 297 starters, I think he said.
Wow.
And like 92 finishers.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Dang.
Oh, wow.
Like a
Nice
third
job.
of the field finished. Everyone else DNF'd.
Wow.
So
Wow.
Greg, way to kick some
Good for him. Yeah.
butt.
All that Florida heat training helped.
Gosh.
Jessica Grand set a stupid goal of running 4 miles after having food poisoning, but felt better afterwards. Set a goal of completing an 8-week strength training program, which is making a difference in our runs. She joined
Nice.
us after the live show, right?
She did.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
hopped on the Zoom with us after the live show. It was
Yeah.
very nice to talk to her.
I can't believe she ran after having food poisoning.
Yeah, that's a rough goal.
That's a dangerous goal.
That is a dangerous goal.
No, like what could happen? Like
Oh, yeah.
running could make more movement happen.
Yeah,
and you don't
it's-
want that.
It's a lot
You
of
don't want
bouncing.
that. That's a risky.
And
run.
she lives in Florida, so it's hot.
Hot and humid.
It's
bouncing.
gonna slide out.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
It's gonna leak.
That's,
it's dangerous.
wow.
It's
Wow,
very
this-
dangerous.
this went someplace.
Megan Gorney completed her triathlon and finished second in her age group.
Nice.
Oh my
Awesome.
God!
That's
Yay, Meg!
where I was saying she was the one who finished without getting eaten by alligators.
That's
so I
plus.
mean, that's a goal.
That is a
He
plus.
shared a photo of, I guess Mark shared a photo of them running into the water with a sign that says, "Don't get in the water, there are alligators." There was a sign. I can't.
Oh, man.
Congratulations. I'm very proud of you.
Jamie putting the pressure on me.
Oh yes.
I gotta say, I am actually getting a little concerned because I was thinking about it today on my run. So Jamie did the China Grove 5K and finished with a PR of 26:50. I was thinking he's running. He ran this in the evening, but it is summer, so in fall, theoretically, he could run faster.
Yeah, you
True.
could run faster.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm
I
like,
mean, he's
man,
only about a minute and a half off from your PR.
no,
God, I
Right?
cannot wait.
no.
I know.
I thought you were 24 something.
Oh yeah, but that was yeah. For a 5K, yeah.
Yeah.
Can
but I've
we-
run in
can-
faster miles than that.
Yeah,
Can we
but that's
hype
what I'm
this up?
saying.
Can we hype this up like Thrilla in Manila?
Okay,
Yeah.
Like,
so
I'll be Don King.
this
And-
is all going down in
Raleigh.
in Raleigh,
In
North
October?
Carolina, in October on Columbus Day weekend. Apparently, we're having a race.
Well, once he signed up for a half too.
He did. He signed up for his first half.
Giddy up.
And I said to him, it's just the start because the marathon's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's
100%.
like, no. I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I think Tom, I think you need to get on Jamie's plan because I think you would enjoy it a lot. Like, just do shorter distances and then work on your speed for a while. Because I know you like these little, like, shorter challenges or things that you can do every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would probably be fun
And
to
then
do.
you don't have to, like, and then you don't have to worry about, like, your long runs when you feel
Yeah.
miserable. And then just do long runs when you're training for something.
yeah.
Yeah,
But just
really.
be like-
Yeah.
yeah.
I think, I'm super proud of him for signing up
Yeah,
for this.
he's,
Yes.
And I remember having this conversation where he was like, I said when he was starting to get faster, I'm like, oh, the half's coming. He's like, I'm never doing a half. I don't have any interest. I'm going to keep with the short distance stuff. I don't need to do these races. And like on Facebook, he posts, I signed up for my first half marathon. I'm like,
I love
there
it.
it is. There
I love
it
it.
is.
Hopefully, it's the week before I race him. Actually, I think I have a race the week before.
Gosh.
Don't we have
No, we don't.
Rockin' the Knob?
That's like 3 weeks before.
Oh, okay. There
Because
we go.
you're in New
Oh,
York
yeah,
also.
yeah.
There's a bunch of stuff in between.
There we go. At least I'll have
You'll
some
be fine.
rest.
You'll be fine.
I'll have some. I'm going to work on my speed this summer and have to do it.
Oh,
so,
gosh.
Robert, he survived his final ultra, the Cayuga Trails 50K, which was also the same weekend we did Cowbone, and it was miserable and rainy and cold. in New York
muddy
and
awful.
and everything else.
His last ultra of this year.
Of this year, not ever. But
I was going to ask. I was like, is he like retiring?
Yeah. No, of this year. I'm like, it doesn't say that there, but I'm pretty sure his text to me said of this year.
Yeah, I assumed it was of this year. Sorry.
Yeah.
His next goal is a sub 2 hour half marathon at the Half Sour Half Kraut Marathon.
Which he's going to crush.
Northeast Philly.
Got it.
Yeah, the only issue there.
He just Boston qualified.
Yeah. I mean, he should. That's not like a super hard race. It's half on paved path, and I'd say it's like 3/4 on paved path and like a quarter.
It's supposed to be half and half.
Maybe it is half and half.
It's called Half Sour Half Kraut.
Oh, maybe
that
it
is literally the name of it, and that's why it's that name.
I haven't run it I ran it a few years back, so I don't recall exactly.
Anyway,
but yeah. So he should be all right there. I mean, the trails aren't super technical. It might be super hot. That might be the only problem because it is June 12th. You know.
Well, so the 50K that he ran. Actually, that's wrong. He didn't run a 50K. He ran a 50 miler.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
He ran 50 miles, guys. He said he came in almost last. It was muddy. It was just basically a carbon copy of our race. Yeah. But then I saw pictures, and it was all steps. It was like 9,000 feet of elevation, but it was like step elevation.
Yeah, the steps are miserable.
Steps are worse.
Because that's what it was at Diamond Head, and I wanted to die.
Oh, yeah. Going up a trail is different because you don't have to pick your feet up so high every single time.
Yeah, we were just back up at Bear Mountain again for the step training on purpose. And, like, that's what exhausts you because every step is a little different height. You got to, like, pick your legs all the way up, all the way up, all the way up each time. It's a lot of work.
And then when you're coming down, you're hopping down every single step.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to fall down the steps because my knee was hurting so bad going down the steps.
Yeah. So
get at it, Robert. I love that.
So that was our goal getters for this week. Thank you, everyone. And just keep an eye out for an Instagram post, or you can email us at willrunforpodcast@gmail.com.
I know we have a lot of people out there doing stuff. I know, like, Anna's out there, Running in Wonderland's out there. You got a lot of people out there.
You know what Anna said she would do?
Guys.
You know what Anna said she would do?
Oh, Anna and him are starting a podcast, guys.
Oh, yeah, no. But you know what she said she would do? She just sent me this message. Not really. But she sent me this message. She said she was going to run 48 miles for my 48th birthday next week.
Wow.
Can you believe it? I mean, I think that's fantastic of her.
That's so nice. Did you guys know that Michael and Anna are starting a podcast?
Just put it into the universe.
It's going to be them ranting about whatever topic we give them. Because apparently oatmeal raisin cookies are the devil, and Anna went on a long Instagram rant about it, and it may have been one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
Well, I mean, they are useless cookies. I mean... Like, if you're making cookies, why are you making oatmeal raisin? Make a damn cookie.
This is exactly what she said.
100%.
Make a chocolate chip.
I will say, oatmeal chocolate chip from Potbelly Sandwich Works are like crack. I used to bring them into the office, and they were the crack cookies.
I could see that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's because the chocolate. They're not trying to sneak, like, what is a raisin? A vegetable? I don't know. They're trying to sneak that into your cookie, and no one wants that.
Well, so this is basically what the podcast is going to be. It's going to be Michael and Anna just ranting about people with Bluetooth speakers and oatmeal raisin cookies and the lack of sidewalks all over the place.
Sidewalks,
it's just going to be them ranting.
I like it.
Anyway.
So do we want to talk about our recent races?
Yeah. We had races?
Oh my God.
It's
live.
Like life is coming back.
Live and in person.
Wow. Guys, you did Baltimore 10 miler, not in Baltimore, right?
Yeah, it was in Hunt Valley, and I've never run in Hunt Valley, and I don't think I ever will again.
I saw lovely pictures of you with our friends from Running on Tap, though.
Oh, they were so great.
Jacqueline and Kyle, right?
Yeah.
They're so great. They were so nice, and they were trying to downplay it when we saw them. We're like, man, it's really hot. We're going to slow down. And they're like, yeah, we're going to go so slow. And we're like, okay.
It's all relative.
It's all relative.
It was really hot that day.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It was when we started the race. It was like 72 with a real feel of 80. And by the time we finished, It was like 78, and the real feed was like 88.
Oh my God. Oh.
It was so hot.
Yeah.
It was so hot.
Yeah.
It was so hot.
We were thinking about you that day because, and we were listening to their podcast on our way up to our hike, and we knew you guys were starting, and they were like, yeah, the Will Run For It crowd says that it's going to be great weather. I mean, it seems like it's going to be a little hot for us because you had posted on our story the day before, looks like great weather.
That means no rain.
Oh, is that all that meant?
I was
That's
like,
all that meant to me.
I didn't post that. Also, so when we're getting ready to run, I actually had all my stuff together, which is very unlike me. But I didn't grab my water bottles out of the fridge, so I made them the night before for my little nerd belt. Didn't grab those in the morning. So I was very concerned about water bottles and figuring that all out in the morning. Tom, while I was like, I'm going to go to the bathroom, I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do about my water bottles, kept thinking all these random white couples were them.
Oh my God.
So he'd be like, I think
Oh
that's
my
them.
God.
And would just run to like a really attractive white couple.
It only happened twice.
Oh my
I
God.
can't wait for them to hear this. This is amazing.
And then I found them.
And then he found them for real. Like when he found them, I actually didn't think he'd found them.
Oh, that's
so
amazing.
I lingered back. I was like, oh, he's talking to them.
Oh my
Oh, God.
God. Oh,
That's
that's amazing.
amazing.
Oh.
That's great.
Oh God, it was so funny.
Oh God.
But yeah, it started early. It started at 7. So
Well,
we
so did you
left-
do bib pickup that morning?
No. So Tom went. Tell him about a big pickup because I was at work.
Yeah, you're at work, and then so they had big bib pickup kind of closer to where the race was, or like a day earlier, you could go to basically Elk Ridge, which is really close to us, and it was really easy. I mean, it just walked in. They had a QR code. It was like touchless. I got both of our bibs, and they were selling some swag there, but
Is it normally an expo setup?
I don't
No.
know. I don't know.
Okay.
But there was definitely swag there that you could have purchased beforehand. It was the same swag that was at the race.
Okay. All right. I didn't know
No,
whether
I don't-
Baltimore 10 Mile has a normal
Not
expo.
not any kind of big expo.
I'm
Not
trying to
like
remember.
like the Baltimore Run Festival.
Not at
No.
all.
Okay.
Not at all.
No, and I think they just do it. I'm wondering if I've done it a bunch of times, but now I'm wondering if I've ever actually picked up my bib for it, or if just somebody has always picked it up for me.
Yeah. Okay.
No, but we had all of our stuff, and they had a wave start. Surprise, surprise! We were in the last wave.
I was like, what did we put down for our time? But so they had a wave start based on colors. It was like red first, then blue. For the red group, I don't know how well they were monitoring it, but we didn't start with our correct. We just kind of started.
Okay.
Like they were releasing them in waves, but they weren't monitoring
Who was
Yeah.
in them?
Okay.
who
Yeah.
was going in where. There were, I don't know, a couple thousand people. Nobody was wearing masks.
No.
It felt like, I kept saying to Tom, I was like, this feels like the before times.
Yeah.
Like it was a normal race. People were in line for porta potties. Like everyone was just milling around like before a race, like normal.
I mean, I feel
Um,
like with the outdoor stuff, it was always kind of shown that like it wasn't spread that way.
Yeah.
So like not wearing masks outdoors, and with as many people as there are vaccinated now, I at least feel like that doesn't feel super unsafe anymore.
No, I didn't feel unsafe. And I was like, I don't want to make anyone else feel uncomfortable. So I had brought a mask.
Yeah.
And then when we kind of got out of the car and realized, oh my God, no one's wearing one, I was like, well, then I'm not.
Yeah.
I just shoved it in my my belt. It was cupless, which is why I was freaking out about not having my water.
Oh,
bottle.
yeah.
So they had refill stations, but no bottles.
Okay.
So luckily I brought like a Gatorade in the car that morning. So I had a Gatorade bottle.
Oh, that's
Okay.
good.
Which was a nightmare to carry.
I was
for
gonna
the-
say, that
I
meant
haven't
you carried it?
water. Yeah, so I carried a
Oh
Gatorade
gosh.
bottle
Yeah.
the whole time.
When you're not used to that, that's annoying.
Yeah.
No.
It like feels like
I
this
had a-
weird weight in your hand too.
Yeah,
like
and
you
I
don't know
kept,
what to
like,
do with it.
switching hands
Yeah, exactly.
and-
Yeah.
But I was glad I had it because I needed it.
Yeah.
I had to. It got so hot I had to dump water on my head a couple of times.
Wow.
Oh my God.
A lot of it was in the sun. It wasn't really in the shade until the end.
Yeah. There was a couple. I mean, it's pretty hilly, but there were a couple real steep, long climbs.
It was awful.
Oh God.
It was awful. I've never experienced a race where it's been just constant up and down. Like it felt like it almost felt like there was no straightaways.
Just rolling hills.
I think
it was
it's
just
funny.
rolling hills the entire. Like everyone says, Bird in Hand is really hilly, and this was like 100 times more hilly.
Yeah. Well, so
than Bird in
last
Hand.
episode, I actually asked you guys whether you'd looked at the elevation profile and whether you guys thought it was silly. Because I had looked at the elevation profile, and then when both of you were like, "Nah," I was like, "I'm just not going to tell them."
It was awful. Like, because I thought it couldn't be bad than what the actual race is. Like I said, the race is
I
5
know,
miles downhill and then 5 miles back
Oh,
And that's
uphill.
what you
man.
had said. So I was like, I'll just leave it there because they didn't look at it, and I'm not going to be the one to tell
But it,
them
like, I
that it
think
looks
the
awful.
But I think the elevation was like the same. I just think it was different because
Yeah.
in the normal course, it's kind of like a slow, steady
That's-
uphill. And then
that-
there are
yeah.
a couple like hills you have to climb, but they're not as long. There was a hill at the end, and I was so mad. And I'm actually glad I didn't look at it before the race. It was one of those like PR things where you're like, oh, if I had looked, I would have been really annoyed with myself. But I missed a PR by like 3 minutes.
Oh wow.
So that was close.
That's
but,
actually pretty amazing for
Yeah.
the kind of hills that you're talking about and the
Yeah.
heat then.
And I think you're right, Erin. Like how last time you were like, well, I think Orange Theory and doing all these different things are making
Yeah.
you faster because I was way thinner in 2015 and 2016 when I did the race, but my pace was way slower, even than when I did it a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't feel like trash. I felt like trash because it was hilly and
Hot, yeah.
but not like I didn't feel undertrained.
Yeah. Yeah.
doing
Well,
it.
you said that you guys do the interval hills at Orange Theory, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
And
so
I think
yeah.
yeah, I told my when I went to Orange Theory this morning, I told Coach Mel that, and she was like, "Yeah, I get it." I was like, I felt like I had you like in my head, doing these rolling hills. But
Yeah. That's awesome. What about you, Tom? How'd you end up feeling on those hills?
Well, and I was going to save this as a surprise, but I know Megan said she got second in her age group. I also placed in my age group. I was 88 out of 90. It's just demoralizing. In the adult, in the male 40 to 44.
That is like one of the strongest age groups, though. I will say,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
someone
Yeah, well,
in the 40 to 49, it's always a loaded age group.
Just generally between
87
men and
other
women.
people. I'm just saying.
Between men and women, the 40 to 49. I actually keep saying that this is my last year to place anything because once I hit 40, the 45 and up people are just so strong that any races that are 40 to 49, there's no way for me to place
oh god,
until I'm
Yeah.
over 45 again.
Yeah.
And they've all moved
It
into
was
the
a big
50s.
running boom, and like
Yeah, I guess.
they've run for so long. A lot of people.
So,
yeah.
are you getting a
They're just super
plaque
strong.
or a medal or any sort of recognition for this 88th place?
I assume they're going to send me
You're going to get
something.
something in the mail.
You're gonna get something in the mail.
No, it was good. I was definitely a bit undertrained for this one. I want to really buckle down and train for Frederick, which is also going to be terrible
It's gonna be awful.
and
Oh,
hot.
that's gonna be hot.
We looked
Yeah.
at it because we were in Frederick last week.
Yeah, I was like, oh, Frederick's really
we
nice.
should look at the Frederick, and then we realized that it's like
$175.
$175 for the half marathon.
And I was
Is
like,
it really?
last minute, I guess.
I guess
Yeah,
because it's so
yeah.
close to the race.
I was like, I'm not spending $175 for a half.
I've never paid that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was funny because Running on Tap were asking us because they've never done it, and I said I can't give you an actual like recap of that race because it was the worst race I've ever run. For me, physically, not the race. I was like, I had such a bad race day. It was me. I can't tell you if it was the course or not because I was so bad.
I was going to say that sounded really high. I didn't think it was that much money, by the way. It's $100.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah.
What was I looking at?
I have no idea. I was
You
gonna
might
say, I
have
was
been looking
sort
at
of.
King Crab
Maybe I was looking at something like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say
or the Maryland Double. That
as
is
soon as he
pretty
said
good.
that, I'm like, I have to pull this up because I remember
That seemed
thinking
high
that
to
it was
me.
a little
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah.
But we're also used to doing ultras, where these race directors put on things for like $35 to like $75 for like
Yeah.
to do a 50K to 50 miler to 24-hour races that like $100. But I mean, this is very standard.
Yeah, so,
when
I mean, that's
he
not-
when he
yeah,
said it to
high,
me, it's like
yeah.
this is pretty standard for like a big race, like
Yeah,
you know,
close
any
to the
other
date,
race that
yeah.
you do, like Shamrock, Marine Corps, even like the Ocean City Half Marathon here is like $75.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think. Like
yeah.
it's a pretty standard price.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
It's just that we're used to the trail stuff where it's a little less expensive now.
Yeah, that's true.
Save that money. Trying to think of what else. I've been training so that I can run out the end of a race, and I've prided myself on that in the last like year or so that I've been able to do this. And I was so excited to do that at this race. And I was like, I'm going to run the last half mile. And then I turned a corner and it was literally straight uphill. It
Oh
was
my
like,
God.
we were talking to Running on Tap. It was almost like the Marine Corps uphill.
It's what I was just thinking of.
It was almost that steep, but a
Ugh.
half mile.
Oh God.
So I always I've done the Marine Corps how many times now, and every year I'm like, I'm going to run that hill, and it still has defeated me every single time.
It wasn't quite that steep, but it was almost as steep, and it went on forever. And I walked the whole thing, and I think that's where my 3 minutes of PR went, was turning that corner, seeing that uphill, and just being so demoralized.
Hitting that wall. Yeah.
Any race that ends like that with a hill like that at the finish line just sucks.
And the course
shouldn't be
was
allowed.
long. And I mean, I do swerve a lot when I run, but the course was long. So when I finished, I was at like 10.25, which is that's a big difference between and then Tom says he was the same, and then a couple people we asked were the same. So I was like, I don't know if that's me swerving, but
yeah,
I was also like ready for it to be done, and I was not done.
Yeah,
yeah.
So then it makes it wait. That quarter mile.
So then I was like, I don't want to run anymore.
I'm trying to think because it's been a while since we've done like a road race too, where like, I mean, trails are always messed up, but on road races, because I know that Marine Corps but it loses the GPS in the beginning of the race, so you're off from the beginning. Because I'm always
for
almost
most of the mile markers, or I was on within at least under a tenth of a mile for each of them. Some of them were right on for like the whole race.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, "What is happening?"
Yeah. So how was about the end of the race when you crossed the finish line? I saw that they actually had beer.
Oh my gosh! Yes, they had Harpoon there, which was awesome, but you could only get one
instead
of the normal two. You could either choose Harpoon Rec League, or a seltzer.
Okay.
We both chose a beer. Tom got to ring the PR bell.
Technically, I've never done a 10 miler.
Okay.
So I guess that counts.
It does count. There's no I guess. There's no I guess.
So,
that totally counts.
No, I think the 10 miler is such a great distance. I love a 10 miler.
It was, and I honestly still think it might be one of my favorite distances. I mean, as much as I do the longer distances, I mean, 10 miles, I feel like is one of those races where you could just all out it and not like 10 miles is where even in a half marathon, you usually start to feel like you're going to hit the wall. Especially if you're racing it. Like it's like 10 miles is where it gets tough. So if it's just over a 10 miles, then you're good.
Yeah. I love that distance. Yeah, it's so great. But it was great. They had like a DJ, so they had live music and people were kind of milling about. I waited for Tom and I was going to get a video of him crossing the finish line. But when he came up, I was opening my chips and then I went to go grab my phone out of my bra and it was all sweaty and like distorted. So I didn't get him on camera.
It was a good try. It was. It's the thought that counts.
The thought was there, but there were chips and boob sweat.
I mean, my biggest thing about this is it felt very much like a return to normalcy for like a big field race where like they were being cautious, and I think they did everything they needed to do. But like in the corrals, it wasn't 6 feet of distance.
No.
It felt exactly like
It felt like a normal race.
Yeah.
It felt like Baltimore half marathon, but with
Less people.
much less people, but still like
Yeah.
If it was like Shamrock, it would be the first 4 or so corrals.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It felt good. It felt good, and like everybody was there, and everyone's been so stressed out like the last year, and it looked like a lot of these people were just happy to be there, to be ready to do something that they love, and
Yeah, I'm a
it was
creep,
really cool.
so I was like listening to people's conversations. And a lot of people were saying like this is the first thing that they've done since COVID.
Yeah. Well, I know that Running on Tap, they had that one 5K that they did, but this was their first like real return to anything themselves. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, even that we did Shamrock, I mean, that was similar to a real race experience, but I wouldn't consider that a real race experience.
I honestly, because we do trail stuff. I mean, the trail stuff has never really waned the same way the big stuff has. So I would actually like to get to a real like full race at some point, because it's just a different feel, and I do miss that bigger race feel. I know Michael doesn't love the bigger races as much as I do, but I'm looking forward to signing up for something. I actually just said I think I'm going to sign up for the Ocean City Half for that reason. I might try and find something else during the summer someplace. We did look at Frederick Half. I don't know.
I'm 99% sure I'm going to sign up for Philly. But that's the weekend before Space Coast.
Yes, that's my actual birthday weekend.
So, if that happens, we'll be in Philadelphia, and I hear you guys are close to Philadelphia.
I don't see any reason why it wouldn't happen.
And I'm actually just looking. So there were 1,467 overall finishers. This race normally, and I just looked on my Athlinks, there's about 4,000 people that do it every year. So it's about a quarter the size.
Oh, okay.
So it was really small.
Yeah, it is an early one.
1,000 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 1,200 people.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder what they capped it at.
Mm-hmm.
There was a virtual option. I feel like a lot of these races also have a virtual option.
Yeah, I feel like I know a couple people who have said to me that they're still not comfortable doing a larger race, that they would do like a small town 5K, but they're just still not ready. Or I actually have a couple friends who have kids who can't get vaccinated, so they're still being a little careful.
Oh, 100%.
With that kind of stuff, so they feel like,
I get it.
Doing that right now is still not on their list of things to do. So, I mean, I get it. So I think that takes into account for some of the reduced numbers.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
My concern just is that, some of these race organizations who, they're used to the 4,000. I don't know. Like, I hope that they can make it through this next year while people are still feeling a little tenuous, because they're putting on a full race the way that they normally would, but without the amount of money and income coming in. So,
yeah, 100%. Well, it's so funny because normally if there's like a big race like that, if the weather's going to be like it was that day where it's just kind of hot and miserable and they switch the course and everyone knows, oh God, it's going to be super hilly. Like you'd think everyone would be like in a nasty mood, because I've seen that on race morning where like it's just like everyone is about, like everyone was just like so excited to be there. Like people were in a great mood. Everyone was super friendly. It was hot. There were people on like the side of the road. Like, so I saw a couple of people like passed out at the end, kind of like at the little station, like laying on the ground. And then I saw, I don't know, 6 or 7 people just get off the course and go into a cop car. They were like, I'm done, because it was so hot. It was so hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with no shade or anything. That's rough.
No. Yeah, there were huge stretches with no shade.
Yeah.
But we had a good time. It got me excited to run again. I am glad, like I said, that I have been doing Orange Theory, because I was not trained, or I didn't feel trained. I hadn't done the miles. But the Orange Theory saved me, I think.
How was the Cowbone 24-hour?
And why is it called Cowbone?
Oh, because
That's
the
the name of the
trail
trail.
is called the Cowbone Trail.
Because there's
I
two.
took a picture of it.
There's 2 skulls
There's
on the trail.
actually cow bones on the trail.
Oh.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird. I took a picture of it. I think I posted it on our Instagram at some point.
I'll say it was like the first time a trail race felt normal again.
Well, yeah, no, I will agree with that. So, 24-hour, I mean, they had like their aid stations the way that they kind of normally do. It was not.
You didn't grab it yourself. They gave it to you.
It was not self-serve.
That was the only difference, which I think is a good thing going forward
anyway, because it's kind of gross when I think about all the sweaty, disgusting hands going into the bins of like buffet food, like with quesadillas, of just like sitting in a bin and everyone just grabbing inside of it and you're touching.
Yum.
Yeah, it just like the pre-COVID things that you think to yourself that happened, and then the things that you like hope will stay in post-COVID times. That's one of them. Like, maybe we shouldn't all be. Then you wonder why you were sick after you ran a race because you were doing these really disgusting things.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, backing up a little. It started at 7 a.m. on a Saturday, so we drove down on Friday.
Set up our tent and all.
Being a 24-hour race, we were allowed to have a campsite.
It was a looped race, so we would go right past our campsite.
Yeah, so we wanted to have a prime spot. So we got there pretty early on Friday, set up a campsite. We stayed at a hotel, even though we had the campsite.
I was just going to ask that. I was going to ask, did you stay in the tent the night before the race?
No. Other people do, but we were not. One, it was supposed to absolutely torrentially pour the whole night, and that's not happening the night before a race. So we met this kind woman, Connie, who she was going to be camping there, and we set up our stuff in front of hers, and because she was concerned, she was only doing the 6 hours. She was concerned that her car was going to get blocked in. We were concerned that we weren't going to be able to get our car back to the campsite. So we made this little pact. And so we set up in front of her so that her car could be in front of our tent site and she wouldn't get blocked in. And the next morning we showed up and apparently she yelled at everyone to like make sure that like the parking spot right next to the campsite was ours.
Yeah.
So no one parked in our spot.
And the race director held it for us too. He knew we were coming back.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And apparently it was like triple the number of people he had the previous year because I think a lot of people signed up because it was on private property, so they knew it was going to go off.
Well, I think it just became there was a lot of people from Frederick there. I think that there was like a few people from that run group had done it the previous year, and so it expanded pretty big. There was the 6 hour was the most popular distance. There was a 6 hour, 12 hour, and a 24-hour. So we got there. The race director was real nice. We talked about the noise of the cicadas, and he told us how out in the field they were really, really, really loud. So then I got really worried about this.
I was like, were you so freaked out?
I was so freaked out. But we knew I had read that the rain keeps them quiet and kind of away, like because I guess they don't like to get their wings wet. So rain,
because they're stupid. They will die. They can't even flip themselves over.
So the rain kind of made me feel a little bit better that was coming in. So it torrentially poured from Friday around 5 p.m. to around 5 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was drizzly. And at the start when we arrived at like 6-ish? 6:15?
Yeah, something like that.
There was a small break, but it was like drizzly at the start. This is where he said it kind of felt like normal. There was like a ton of people all at the start.
Nice.
No one, like you said, was wearing masks. It just felt like I think there was almost 300 people because I think there was almost 90 people in each category.
That's big for a trail, right?
Yeah, it was a pretty good amount of people. I thought it was 100.
Bigger than you've seen.
Maybe 150. Maybe it was 150.
Yeah, I think it was 150 because the previous year you only had like 50 and it was 150.
Yeah, it was triple. I think I was tripling or doubling the number. I don't know. Anyway.
But it was still, it was a small trail in a small area, so 150 people was a good amount of people.
Yeah, there was a video. I think I posted it onto our actual feed, so you can actually go back to the feed on Instagram of the start where you can see all the people. And it was like, that no one was really
a normal start for that type
no
of race,
one was
basically.
6 feet apart either there. It rained. It was a 1.5 mile loop. We very quickly figured out that it was going to be the muddiest race in the entire universe.
Yeah, well, it starts out so we come down a hill that's on a gravel road, and then go up a hill that's like a gravel trail, and it's all fine. And then we come out, and you're heading straight downhill, and it's
a small hill. That downhill is small, but it's like it was this clayey mud.
Yeah, clay mud that is super slippery.
And then you end up on a little road, and then a little bit of grass, and then back in the woods. And there's a small section of woods that is good. And then you hit this section of just like that thick,
deep
goopy,
mud. Yeah.
Like brown mud. There's a video on our Instagram that does no justice to what it actually looked like.
They were horrifying.
Yeah. The problem was
videos were so bad.
Yeah, at first, so you come in where it starts to get muddy is a straight downhill. It's not a big hill, but it's a straight downhill
to a wooden bridge too.
Yeah. So you literally had to ski down the hill because there was no way to not slip going down the hill.
It was, I mean, so many people, I mean, everyone fell. There was like, we somehow did not.
Yeah.
He almost wiped out. Oh my God. It was so bad.
Well, then you go and it's still muddy for for like another quarter mile. And then you get to a steep uphill.
That is just the same kind of mud.
Yeah. So you can't climb it.
So you can't.
Because you're slipping the whole way up.
Yeah. And then it continues. And so the thing about it is that the first loop, you knew that it was going to be muddy, but it was not quite muddy yet.
Until everybody went over it a couple times.
You knew that the ground was soft and that the more feet that go on it, the more it's going to loosen and soften and get slippery. And then it started raining again.
Oh,
so
yeah.
So now the feet on top of what was already going to be mush is even worse. And so it's made this awful situation worse. And so now it's just slick mud. Like in the beginning, it was kind of sticky mud. Then it just became a slip and slide.
Like a slip and slide.
Yes.
Were people like going down the hills on their butt and stuff? Like
a lot of people.
Oh, there was a lot of people
even
who
just trying to even on purpose, just so like they wouldn't fall, just like sitting down and like.
I don't think anyone really sat down, but you could. Everyone was crouching.
Or going off like to the sides in the woods.
And trying to get into the wood. I mean, you were doing what you could. And then there's these faster runners who are still trying to get some speed in. So they were literally skiing down it where they weren't even trying to run it. They would literally come to it and they would just slide down the whole thing.
No.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
And it was very intense because you would hear someone coming behind you and you were about to go down the hill and you were like, oh no. And you would have to move over so that they couldn't I don't know, run you over. Yeah. There was one point he almost got run over.
Yeah. There was a guy who was completely out of control.
He was out of control and he did not care that he was out of control or that he was going to it was like those cars that weave in and out of traffic and they just don't give an S about anyone but themselves.
Yeah.
That's what this guy reminded me of.
Yeah.
But why?
Yeah, he ran into another guy that ran into me. There was no reason because this isn't you don't even get anything for this race. There's no medal or awards or anything. The only award is if you do 100 miles, and he was doing the freaking 6 hours, so it didn't matter. Yeah.
I always think of the Cardi B clip where she's like, "What was the reason?" And she's clapping. I do that to Tom a lot, and that's what I want to do.
Tom, why do you look horrified right now?
Because I do it all the time to him. What was the reason?
Tom, you look horrified.
Sometimes I worry about you guys.
He's just thinking about ankles.
All right.
Well, it was fine. It was slippery for a while.
So, yeah, it's a 1.5 mile loop. So our plan was to do 3 loops
and then eat
take
and all that stuff,
take a rest each time at our camp. So we did the first.
Well, no, we weren't taking a rest. We were just using it as an aid station.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We weren't taking 8 each time. We were doing 3 loops without stopping. And then at the third loop was when we would stop at the tent. It's
4.5 miles.
We refill our water bottles or get some water. We'd eat something, and then we'd take off. So our plan was really not to take a break, but you have probably 3 to 5 minutes at an aid station to get all your stuff, make sure you eat. And then our plan was to walk, do the first of the 3 slower, and then do the second and the third,
loop
and then
faster.
stop
Yeah.
again. And we were just going to kind of rinse and repeat. So, I mean, even after the third loop, the mud was already starting to like get in my head. We ate, and the first loop we went around. My stomach was feeling a little off. I just was like not feeling right. And then we ran the second loop faster, and I felt like I was going to vomit. Like I felt nauseous. I wasn't feeling good. I like got that cold hot sweat thing that happens. And I was like, I'm not in a good place already. This is not good. I'm like, I'm taking off the next loop. I said, you can go around for another loop. I'm going to take a loop off, see how I feel, reassess. And I'm glad I did, because at that moment I was already in a bad place at mile like 9.
Yeah.
10, 11, whatever we were at. I was already just not feeling great. And I was like, this is going to be really bad if I can't, shake this. So I took a loop off. He went out and ran faster because he's like,
So I went out and ran my fastest loop for no good reason whatsoever. Ran down the mud hills.
I absolutely knew he was going to do it too. I'm like, because I'm not there to be like, hey, that's dumb. Don't do that. He's going to run as fast as he possibly can on this mud.
We all knew he was going to do that. As soon as you said that, like, he went off on his own. Like, I knew that's what he would have done.
Like, and then he comes back. He's like, I shouldn't have done that. I'm like, you think? He's like, yeah, my calves were really killing me at the end of that one because of I'm like, I can't do that again because I'll blow my calves out. I'm like, yeah, because you're on mud that you like have to lift your foot. That was the hardest part. So I went back out. I'm glad I took that break because mentally I was in a better place even then. I don't know. We went another 3 loops. We stopped. It was just really hard at that point.
I think really when we got to marathon distance, we were like really starting to wear down.
I think it was like mile 20-ish, 22-ish that I started being like, I could feel my legs getting super heavy because the mud on your feet is just
weighs
heavy.
A lot, yeah.
Like because stuck to your shoes.
It stopped being as soupy, slippery, and started getting sticky. And we grabbed our poles too.
So it went from sticky to soupy back to sticky.
Yeah. So then
you're lifting your feet in order to like get out of the mud. You're like lifting every single step.
That little
like,
suction every time. Yeah.
And like your feet are stuck. So like you have to lift hard in order to pick them up. And it's just.
And then they weigh extra because there's stuff stuck to them.
Because there's so much mud on them.
That's how I tore my ACL. That's literally how I tore my ACL in mud like that.
Yeah. So
we broke out our poles at some point and used them for quite a while.
We actually used them. We started early. Yeah. We saw somebody using them. Who ironically knew Vanessa, our friend Vanessa. They were camping right next to us. So we saw her using them from the first loop. She had them at the very beginning, and we learned it was because she'd run this the previous year where there had been one spot that was a little muddy, and so she knew, and there's hills, so she kind of knew ahead of time what she was getting herself into, so she started using them immediately, and we should have just followed her lead. I think we started using them
I don't even know,
at like mile 10-ish.
Yeah, it was early, but yeah.
And we realized we should have started using them right away because it kind of saved our knees a little bit from
going down, like the balance going down the slippery. But even they started getting bad because when the mud got sticky, they would get stuck in the mud. So now you're not just using them, you're yanking them out each time. So
your arms are getting tired.
Yeah. So literally my triceps the next day were like sore. And I'm like, oh God, that was from the thing. So we ended up, we got through the 12 hours. We sat and had some Dominoes.
Yeah. Yeah, so back to the aid stations. Yeah, they had like the normal kind of aid station. It's funny because around hour
We had some pierogies.
5, yeah, around hour 5, I stopped and I was like, hey, what do you guys got at the aid station? I just wanted to find out what they had at the aid station. And the one guy was like, oh, well, we've got these quesadillas. And the race director was standing right behind him. He was like, she signed up for the 24 hours. She wants to know when the party's starting. It was just so funny the way he said it. He's like, after the 6 hours go away, we've got the good stuff coming out. So, I mean, not that 6 hour people don't need like the fuel, but they don't need it.
It's not the same.
It's not the same kind of fuel.
Yeah.
So after they went and we're done, and even after the 12 hours were done, more food started coming out. So they had pierogies, they had like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, they had like all the fruit, they had watermelon, bananas,
and we had like bacon
oranges,
and watermelon and stuff too.
They had potatoes. They had, I mean, it was all the like pretty normal. They were going to make grilled cheeses. He talked about how they had sausage and eggs for later on. We never made it to the sausage and eggs. But yeah, so it was all the normal, like over the top aid stations that ultra marathoners are used to.
I just sometimes when I get to the point like during a race, like I can't even imagine eating something like that, even with like
so good
marathon training, like all that, where I like just the idea of eating something.
I think at like 12 hours, which was it was like 11 hours. It was our goal because Domino's was we didn't know it was Domino's. Pizza, we knew pizza was getting there.
Coming. We were like, all right,
we knew pizza was getting there at 6:00, and it would be 11 hours into the race, and we actually timed our loop
to get there right when it got there.
We were going to be there right when the pizza got there. So I think at that point you're so hungry because you've been moving for 11 hours. And even when you're fueling, it's still like you want something of substance, like not just like a couple potatoes here and a couple potatoes there and a piece of bacon. I mean, I had pickles. We had
pickles and bacon.
We had our own
stuff
fare of.
I think I had a half a pound of bacon.
He kept eating. Yeah, he kept eating all the bacon,
which was delicious.
So anyway,
but we just kept reducing our goal as we went along. We were like, let's get to 50 miles.
I think I was mentally ready to quit sooner than he was, though. But I think that also happened at the last the other 50 miler that we were signed up for, the Tesla Hertz that we DNF'd. I think I was mentally out of it by like mile 26 because I realized getting to 50 was going to be really tough at that point.
Yeah, because we were already at 7.5 hours at 26 miles.
And my legs were already just dead. And I was having some mental challenges as far as I knew, and as many times as he said it and as many times as I said it, I knew the mud had killed me. I knew from the moment that it sucked my soul. And I knew it. But I also knew that we did labor pains 40 miler in a sub 9. And so I'm looking at our time. I mean, it took us 14 hours, 14:20 to do what it took me in sub 9 a few months ago or 6 months ago.
The train was totally
so different.
Yeah, it was so much harder.
Like, you're comparing apples to oranges.
I am, but in my head, it's that mental hurdle when you're in the moment. And I am just like, it's sucking the life out of me. This mud, every step sucks. Every step is hard. And I'm just like, I am better than this. Like, why can't I move? And so I was super frustrated. And it took me probably until like 2 days later to like compartmentalize that. And I'm not even sure I'm 100% there, even as we're talking on this podcast. But I definitely had a very tough mental battle with the end of this race. But I was done. I knew I was done. I didn't even want to go out for the last loop that we did. The only reason why we did the last loop that got me to 40 was because the where the pavilion is, our campsite's almost a quarter mile away. So we went through the start finish, went to the campsite where our stuff was, and then we had to make the decision. And it was getting dark at that point, and the last loop was going to be in the dark completely. And I was like, I don't want to do it. But then I would have had to walk a quarter mile back to the start to ring the bell, and then a quarter mile back to the car again anyway. So I'm like, I might as well just do the extra mile and get my stupid freaking 40 miles. So I went out
you
for
went
the last.
back out for pizza.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I probably could have grinded to 50. It would have taken a while. But
I told him he could if he wanted to.
But we also had to break the camp down.
Yeah.
Put everything away. It was raining and it was dark.
All I could think about was sleeping in the hotel room at that point. Like, I just wanted the hotel bed.
Yeah, and I knew I wasn't going to go past 50, so I was like, well, I mean, what am I gaining by taking 2-3 hours to get to 50?
And he talks about it like, well, maybe we can make it to 50. And I'm like, what am I getting out of that? I'm literally not getting anything out of that. Like, all I'm getting is the possibility. Now it's dark. So now we're going to be in the mud, in the dark. What am I going to get out of that?
Yeah.
Nothing.
I think you made the right decision.
I will say for my compartmentalization, the thing that made me feel slightly better was the results. And I don't mean like this as a slight to anybody, but like the first place woman only made it to 52 miles.
Wow.
And she has run like, she's a seasoned 100-miler, and she has done like things like Vanessa knows her. She does things. She's going to go do HOTS, which is like 320 miles, like in a couple weeks or in a week. So she's like a seasoned, and like the second place person, I think, did 51 miles. So it just tells you how tough it was.
So by comparison, you're not such a loser.
There was
I'm
a guy
just
who
saying.
did 111 miles.
There was a guy who did 11.
Wow.
It was an older dude with like a ponytail and just like old school with a plastic bottle in his back pocket and just kept trucking.
He
the
was
whole time.
the entire time.
He was 57.
It was insane to watch him every time. He was so steady.
He was
too.
so good. Yeah.
It wasn't even like, it was a perfectly paced guy. Like this guy, every single time he
Boom, boom,
passed
boom,
us,
boom, boom. Yeah.
it was just the same pace the whole time. Like he never was walking by us. It was just always the same pace.
I think there was like 600-mile finisher or something like that.
Yeah.
Mostly younger dudes, except for the guy who won or the guy who had the most
I think
miles. Anyway.
the other ones were all in their 20s.
Yeah, and he was 57.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it was hard, but it was fun. I like those looped ones where you set up your camp and do the kind of stuff and all that. So
Yeah, that's fun.
So instead of finishing the race, we went and slept at the hotel, then got up
that was
and we went to Frederick and drank beer, and then did a little beer tour and went and picked up beer at like a few breweries.
So that was a
the
win.
best
That's what
place
we
to do
did instead.
Frederick is a great little beer town. If anyone ever goes to Maryland, there's like, where should I go get beer? Go to Frederick. They've got a ton of breweries there.
Got a ton,
I'm
yeah.
still not convinced that I'm not doing Frederick half marathon.
Giddy up. We could.
Frederick's cute. Tom's sister lives in Frederick, so we're there a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
Or she lives just out. She's technically just outside.
It's like
Frederick,
just a
but-
touch far away. Like if it was like 2 hours, but it's like it's like 2 hour 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
I feel like
'cause
if it was a
it's-
touch closer.
It's 40 minutes from us, 35 minutes.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
makes sense because you're about 2 hours ish, right? So it's about another 50-ish
West.
minutes away.
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't know. It's gonna be super hot. But I liked Frederick, and you guys are doing it, and Running on Tap's doing it, and I don't know.
Yeah. Could be fun.
We'll see.
Could be fun.
We'll
Yeah.
see.
It's normally in May. So
I
it's
know.
normally not this.
95
know.
degrees and humid.
Yeah.
I know.
Like when they released the date for it, everyone was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So I haven't even looked. I'm just assuming they're going to start the thing at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
I hope they will. They won't, but I hope they will.
Yeah. Well, so I don't know.
Yeah. well,
I
that
didn't
was
quit running
exciting.
completely, so I guess that's good. We also have Grand Canyon in 2 weeks now, so we didn't want to like completely wreck ourselves.
dead.
I guess it's almost still 3 weeks away, but we didn't want to completely wreck ourselves. I mean, I think that was one of my reasons for stopping was like I'm not gaining anything out of this, and we have something bigger. Like our A goal is still coming.
Yeah, because that we have to finish.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't want like a Tesla Hertz situation where we're trashed and
So now this gives us plenty of time to recover. I mean, neither of us really did anything last week. I think I did a 3-miler and he did like a 4-miler, and then we went and did that hike this weekend. So I mean, we didn't really do anything. So we are trying to properly recover and or continue our taper into the Grand Canyon.
Yeah. So hopefully we're smart.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we both did live races. That's awesome.
Yes.
It's exciting.
It's getting to be real. Like, we're not going to have to pull topics out of our...
Yeah, there's actual races. It's weird.
Yeah, we want to hear about everyone else's races too, guys. So keep on sending what you're doing. I know we've been watching people get out there.
Yeah.
It's been fun
exciting.
to see everyone back in race mode.
Yeah. And I don't know, it motivates me. Like, once I go to a live race, like, I'll get very much in these moods where I'm like, I hate running. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to give it up. And then I run like a live race and I'm like, oh, well,
This
here
is
we are
why.
again.
Yeah.
This is it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even think I'll ever be one of those people that just runs because.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, my friend Lynn today texted me and said she thinks she's done racing because I said I think I'm going to do the Ocean City Half. She's like, oh, I was thinking about retiring from racing. I was like, wait, what? No.
no. No, all she has to do is run one more, and then she's like, I'm back in.
I know.
I am.
So I'm going to get her to run
in.
the Ocean City Half with me again, and she'll be right back there.
Yep.
Right back there
Yeah.
again.
Well, a few people were talking about, because I guess Delaware or something is next weekend, because when I was waiting for Tom, I was just chit-chatting with people and everyone's talking about Frederick, and because a lot of people do King Crab. But then a few people were like, oh, are you doing Delaware next weekend? And I was like, no, what are you talking about? So I guess that's another big live race that's happening.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they're coming back.
Yeah, I know that Vanessa's producing a race this weekend in Delaware also. And then, because I was talking with my friend Megan this morning when I ran with her, and she was like, I might do back-to-back races because she had signed up for 2, not sure whether either of that what was going to happen. So she signed up for one for Saturday and one for Sunday, and one's all the way in Massachusetts. And she's like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, she's like, I guess I could do both. I'm like, why not? Just drive from Delaware to Massachusetts.
Sure, why not?
Reasonable. It doesn't. Don't do that. That's one of those decisions where you're like, that's not going to be too bad, and then you do it, and it's freaking miserable.
Yeah, that's a long drive between.
She's going to do it.
long.
I can feel it in my bones. She's going to do it.
That's long.
But I feel like that's the kind of like mindset you're in. You're like, we haven't had races in so long that you're suddenly like, gosh, I want to do them all. So I don't know. I feel like she might do it. That's a very Frumpa thing to do, actually.
Yes.
Frumpa does all those kinds of things.
Signs up for every race.
He signs up for every race.
I signed up for every race for a long time.
Yeah.
But we'll see. See if that continues. Cool. Well, yay, live races. We're so happy to have you back.
Yeah, absolutely. So, do we want to talk about something good?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, we've been talking for a long time, so we should probably talk about something good and start wrapping up.
Start wrapping this up.
Yeah, start wrapping this thing up. It's summertime, so a couple things happened in the summer. I rewatch a bunch of stuff because I don't want to commit myself. So we're still watching New Girl and all that fun stuff. But I read a lot more in the summer. And instead of reading Harry Potter like I do every summer, I started reading Bridgerton. And guys, I've never read a romance novel before. And it is everything you want it to be. Like, it just is. Like, the sex scenes are just so ridiculous. Like, first, she literally refers to it as a member several times. And then there are things where it's like, she felt his manhood against her thigh. And I'm like, It's everything you want it to be. Like, I thought when people were saying that happened in books, I was like, that can't be real. That's a joke. Like, that's an exaggeration of what happens in a romance novel.
No, that's totally it. It's been a long time since I've actually read, but I used to read them all the time. Like, they're just always quick. They're always just quick, fun reads.
I read a lot of young adult fiction.
No. I mean, did you ever do?
It doesn't have that.
I mean, obviously, it's not going to be Bridgerton, or it's not 50 Shades. But did you ever read 50 Shades?
I mean, I did read 50 Shades, but 50 Shades
was like
so
hardcore.
Bad. No, well, yeah, but it's so badly written. Like, she's
awful.
such a bad writer.
Yeah,
like,
awful.
I couldn't. Like, I got through maybe half of the first book because the writing is so terrible. Like, I couldn't even get through it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that kind of horny. Bridgerton, like good romance novels are more what you're talking about, where they're like, his manhood rubbed against my leg, and
and it's like I felt flushed with passion. It's like I love it. It's too much. No, 50 Shades of Grey. And I hated her.
Yeah.
The whole thing was gross, and she was terrible for women. Like, it wasn't empowering.
No,
I couldn't do it. But I'm loving Bridgerton. It's just like summer trash. So if you want summer trash, pick up. The second book's my favorite. It's better than The Duke and I. So there's your horny recommendation for Diana this week.
I cannot even deal with you. Last night we watched Bo Burnham's new special on Netflix.
Inside?
It's called Inside. And if you're not familiar, he's a comedian. And he wrote, directed, filmed this all during the pandemic in it's kind of like a one-man show, but he's very musical and it's very topical. And I thought it was pretty funny. And just the overall production of it, if he did do it himself, was pretty impressive.
It's an hour and a half. Michael, you'll really like it.
It's been a hot topic
in your Discord.
Yeah,
there were things
been
about
a divisive topic, I'll say.
Yeah, there are things about it I really liked, and then other parts I didn't like as much.
Yeah,
okay.
And I thought I was going to have a very visceral reaction to it, where I was either going to really love it or really hate it. And I just thought, oh, there were some good things in there.
Yeah,
okay. And there was other things where I was like, oh,
okay.
But there were parts where I was laughing and Tom was just staring at me laughing. So, but I think it's worth a watch. I think everyone should watch it. It gets a little dark. It gets a little deep.
It does.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah.
Where I'm like, this isn't really a comedy special. This is something else.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Tom? You looked like you had something else.
No. And I used to watch him in his earlier days of stand-up when he was just kind of a nerdy white kid playing piano and rapping. And I like that. And this is definitely
not that.
It's definitely like a performance piece. Like, it might be him trying way too hard.
It felt a little trying too hard.
Okay.
But there were good parts, and it's worth the hour and a half watch.
Okay.
That's it. That's
all
it.
right. Well, we'll go for it.
So I guess my something good is revisiting Broadchurch, because I've seen the whole series previously.
Oh, my boy!
Yeah, so it's a very Doctor Who heavy show with a new doctor, an old doctor, a person from Torchwood, a couple other people from companion from Doctor Who.
Well, so this all started because Broadchurch has always been on my list. I watched the terrible American version called Grace Point or something like that. And so I think it soured my view of what Broadchurch was supposed to be. And so I never watched the British version. And I know that everyone always talks about how good the British version is. But then when we were talking about Mare a lot, and we did a special episode with some friends recapping Mare of Easttown, one of the hosts mentioned it on there that Broadchurch, gave him Broadchurch vibes, and that was one of his favorite shows ever. Slim from 70 millimeter had mentioned it. I was like, oh, I've always meant to watch it, but he kept saying like it's the best show like it's his favorite show. Like it's better to him. It's better than Mare. So I was like, oh, well, now I kind of want to watch it. So it's my first viewing.
Yeah, and I loved it when I saw it the first time. So I was like, yeah, I'll watch it again.
Yeah. So, guys, I loved it. It was very dark.
We're partway through the second season.
We're not even. I mean, not partway. We're
couple
like
episodes,
like 2 episodes
two
in.
and a half episodes.
And I almost wanted a palate cleanse, and he was like, "We're just going."
That happens to us. Although our problem is we do a palate cleanse and it's hard for us to go back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
So
we stopped watching Lost because we needed a palate cleanse, and now it's just lingering in.
It's going to be so hard because when we go back,
it's going to
Yeah.
be
it
so
gets
bad.
real weird.
Oh, yeah, you're at that point.
You're at that point.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
gonna,
Where I
man,
was
are you
like, I
gonna
need a
hate it?
break. I
You are
can't
gonna
watch it
hate it.
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
God, yeah, that's gonna be rough to go back to. Yeah, I like season 2. I'm kind of like I don't remember a ton of the storylines. I'm starting to remember them as I watch it, so I feel like I've lost enough of it where I'm not like I'm mildly surprised as things come up. But I'm like, oh yeah, that's where that fits, and that's where this fits. But I love the show anyway, so I'm fine. Like rewatching it, like everybody's so good in it, and it's just a good show.
So my something good is a little podcast called "The Plane," a Fantasy Island retrospective.
Oh,
Yes,
You're actually doing this.
guys,
We recorded one yesterday.
it's happening. We have started a new podcast, Michael and I, called "The Plane," a Fantasy Island retrospective. It is
Oh,
not
God.
out yet, so you are not able to go subscribe to it, Tom. But by the time the episode drops, it might be up.
No, it will not be up. by
Okay,
the time the
apparently
episode
it will
drops.
not be up.
We're traveling this weekend.
Oh, that's
so,
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we watched episode 1 of season 1 yesterday, and then immediately recorded an episode. And we're gonna have some. Maybe we should have Diana on to do the "How Horny Is Tattoo" segment.
Oh.
Because she likes to talk about how horny things are.
Yeah, we're gonna have
I
to.
don't know why that's been a theme lately, but it has been.
Yeah,
So Tattoo is very horny, and so
Oh,
we're going to
he-
talk
yes,
about
he
that.
is.
We're going to talk about that a
Very,
lot.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll have you on, Diana, to do a little segment with us every so often.
Maybe we should watch it because I haven't watched it since I was a kid.
Oh,
I
you
mean,
should.
Maybe not a kid, but like middle school aged, probably.
Yeah, 'cause
was,
it
I think,
hasn't-
The last time I saw.
It's on Tubi.
Yeah, it hasn't
A
really
free
been
app.
on TV for a while.
Tubi. It's a free
Tubi
app.
Free?
It's
Yeah.
a free app.
Tubi.
Tubi's
we
free.
have-
It's a free app. It's called Tubi, Tubi.
Has ads.
And it has ads. The problem, and you will hear about this on our podcast, is how the episodes on Tubi are in the wrong order of the actual
It's very
DVDs.
strange. Yeah.
So like episode 1, season 1 on Tubi is actually like
Episode
episodes
5.
5 or 6. Episode 5 on Tubi is actually the pilot.
So you have to like look up the actual episodes
Yes.
on like Wikipedia.
Yeah,
in order to
basically,
do it.
yeah.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
watch.
So
them in
we
order. Okay.
we did the actual Wikipedia and IMDb both matched to the way the episodes are supposed to do. So we are going to do them in the order that's on Wikipedia.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Like the actual real episode.
Yeah. So we'll be doing a review of the episode. We'll talk about, like I said, how horny Tattoo is. We'll talk about the ages of some of the people that are on, because sometimes you can't tell how old they are because everyone in the 70s and 80s looks like they're 50 to 80 when they're
Oh,
like
so like
30.
Ava Mendes.
Yeah, like it's
I have
it's crazy.
this weird thing with Ava Mendes where I think she's forever like 45.
Yeah.
she is.
Like she's never looked young to me.
Yeah, it's
Um,
it's crazy.
I don't think I've ever watched that.
It's an amazing
Oh
show.
my gosh.
Yeah.
But I will say when your eventual Patreon comes out, I'm 100% in.
I have
For the bonus content.
I have a couple episodes in mind that
We actually would like to have
Yeah.
you guys on, and we have
Couple
we do
episodes
we
in
have
mind.
on the first season. There's like 2 episodes that we're thinking of specifically that we'd
Yeah.
love for you
Oh,
guys to
God.
watch and
Yeah.
react to.
yeah, there's some crazy ones.
We were talking about how some of the episodes do not hold up.
Well,
Clearly,
obviously, yeah, for obvious
clearly
reasons.
there are some problematic
Oh.
things, and so we feel like these would be strong episodes for Diana to take part in.
I mean, every episode has the generic sexism, but there's
Yeah.
some that are like, "Woo, this is bad."
It's
You
like
know.
really bad.
It's
Yeah,
really bad.
yeah. There's a couple really bad ones.
Yeah. So
Wow.
so guys, we will let you know when that's not going to be available in your feeds. But yeah, Michael and I are doing it.
Congratulations. It's
love
like
it.
you're having a tattoo baby.
Oh gosh, and
I
we
remember when you first told me you were watching Fantasy Island. I thought you were watching either a reality show or there
The
was some
movie.
weird movie
Yeah.
that was Fantasy Island
So-
that just came out. I didn't believe you were watching.
So there is
the
a
show.
2020 version of it. Then we also found out there's a 1998 Fantasy Island reboot
with
that
Malcolm
came out.
McDowell. I knew it came out, but I thought it had come out post Lost.
You thought it was a fever dream, is what you thought it was.
I didn't realize how long ago it was. Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
We watched the beginning of one episode, and it's like
wacky.
it's so
It's-
90s.
It's zany.
It's so
Like,
90s.
It's not
Yeah.
like Yeah. I'm actually excited for Tom to actually watch a couple episodes because I will say I had never seen Fantasy Island and it is not what I was expecting it to be.
Tom had also never watched The Love Boat,
Oh,
and I got him
amazing.
sucked into
Yeah.
a few episodes of that.
Yeah.
And he was
God.
like, we have to watch the whole thing. And the worst is when it's like a two-parter.
Yes.
So he's like, we have to watch 2 hours of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically,
Yeah.
Fantasy Island is the insane version of The Love Boat.
Yeah.
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 All right, I'm in.
Yeah. Let's do it. All right, guys.
Okay. I guess that brings us to the end. Please like, subscribe, share the pod with your family and friends. And this is Tom for Erin, Michael, and Diana. Till next time, take care of yourselves and each other.
Who submitted that one?
Jerry Springer.
Oh.
Oh, is that what he says?
Let me try that again. This is Tom for Erin, Michael, and Diana. And until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.
I cannot. Oh, God.